I'm being joined now by the former Finance Minister, Mr. Chidambaram. Mr. Chidambaram, we had a press conference earlier today, basically saying that tearing apart the many parts of this budget. Now, we all remember that famous dream budget, which at that time you had presented, that was called that. Do you think that it would be right to call this also a dream budget, putting aside your political hat at this moment?
I can't put aside my political hat or my economic hat or my any hat.
You could put aside your political hat,
put your hat when answering a question. Now, this budget, I've criticized it, I've issued a statement. Now, your question is it a dream budget? Now, whether you want to call it a dream budget or not is your prerogative. But I just want to point out that in that long 90-minute speech, the Finance Minister did not think it necessary to utter even once, the word unemployment, poverty, inequality. She uttered the word poor twice. Now, what is there in this budget for the poor? Tell me. Have indirect taxes been cut? Has GST been cut? Has the prices of petrol, diesel, fertilizer, cement, which poor middle class use, has it been cut? What is there for the poor? And remember, the Azim Premji University's research shows that as many as 5.6 crore people have fallen below the poverty line in the last 3 years, mainly thanks to the pandemic.
Right.
Now, what have you done to lift them above the poverty line?
Well, the economic survey had those figures
according
yesterday.
To the Oxfam report.
Yes.
I beg pardon?
No, I'm saying the economic survey had the figures yesterday which showed that they said that a record number of Indians had been lifted out of the poverty line. The chief economic advisor yesterday, Mr. Param Iyer, just outlining measures for the tribal, special tribal fund, measures which he said for women, self-help groups, which he said are all pro-poor.
I heard that. Now, let me invite your attention and to Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer's attention to the record of this government. I'll give you two numbers, 2022-23 budget estimates and the revised estimates. For education, they allotted 1,04,278 crore, but they will spend only 99,881 crore. On health, they allotted 86,606 crore and they will spend only 76,351 crore, a 10,000 crore less. Social welfare, they allotted 51,780 crore. They will spend only 46,502 crore. I can go down the list. There are 10, 12 items where they have not spent the money allocated at the beginning of the year. Now, why should I believe Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer that the allocation made for next year will be spent?
But Mr. Chidambaram, just on this question of employment, you said the finance minister didn't directly talk about unemployment in the budget. But when the government announces such a huge capital expenditure, increases it by 33%, the idea, I guess, would be that you pump that money into infrastructure, etc., and that in turn is what will generate investment, will generate jobs. Doesn't that give you some hope that at least they're going in the right direction?
That's correct. But look at the execution. In the current year, for capital expenditure, they allocated 7,50,246 crore, but they will end the year only spending 7,28,274 crore. Their execution is poor.
No, but Mr.
So you suddenly bump up this allocation from 7.5 lakh crore to 10 lakh crore, an increase of almost 33%, which I welcome. But do they have the capacity to spend 10 lakh crore?
Sure, but
going by this year's experience, I doubt whether they have the capacity to execute a 10 lakh crore capital expenditure head.
All right, but Mr. Chidambaram, in a sense, Param Iyer responded to a couple of those points or he spoke about those points. He said, number one, over the last 4 to 5 years, if you look at the delivery of social services, they're unprecedented. The number of toilets which have actually been made, 11 crore taps for water, bank accounts which have been opened. And yes, he did point out to capex which will, and the increase over there which would result in more jobs. So he says that it's not correct to say that social infrastructure or infrastructure which would bring people out of poverty was absent. He says, look, we've got a record of it, and he had his statistics. Just as you do.
I'm not disputing that every government will add to the social infrastructure. Who started the toilet program? Our government started. And this government will add to that. And the next government will add to that. Nobody is disputing that. But the truth does not lie in the dry numbers. I took Montek Singh Ahluwalia to Tamil Nadu to show him on the ground what is the execution of the toilet program. I'm willing to take Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer also. Half the toilets are not used. You come with me, I'll take you to parts of Tamil Nadu and parts of any other state. Half the toilets are not used. They are used as storerooms. Why? One, there is no water. Number two, there is no connection to a drainage facility. And many of them have to build septic tanks, which they don't want to do. The septic tanks have to be cleared.
Right.
A toilet is fully functional only if it has water and the waste is connected to a drainage.
No,
you come with me. I'm willing to take you and Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer also.
Well, I think Mr. Parameshwaran Iyer, who, if you all remember
this
famously,
is the fault of
was
this government.
Was the man who actually cleaned
to
toilets when he was heading. He actually went and cleaned toilets as part of the Swachh Bharat mission. So I think it would be very good if Mr. Iyer and you, we'd love to accompany you on that trip. But thank you, Mr. Chidambaram, very much for joining us with your views on Nirmala Sitharaman's 5th budget.